Thanks for joining us today for one of our Backpack to Briefcase series. We've had great events so far. We heard from Chelsea Yoshikawa this morning from General Mills. Make sure you go in and watch it on YouTube if you missed it this morning. And then this 30 session, we're thrilled to have some great alumni and Koch professionals, Jessica Wilkinson, McKlayne Marshall, and Scott Gold. So thanks for joining us today. This will be a pretty interactive panel, so they'll be posting a URL to a poll that they'll use throughout this meeting, and we're really excited to have them. I'll give a brief introduction of each of them, and then we'll turn the time over to them to jump in. So Jessica Wilkinson is a great alumni from Utah State. She says numbers, problem solving, communication, data visualization, math, stats. These are some of the things Jessica is most passionate about. She's a data analyst for Koch Business Solutions, one of the many companies within Koch Industries. Although she grew up in Brigham City, Utah and loved it, she has lived in Wichita, Kansas for 3 years now and is the proud mom of a 17-month-old Kansan. Jessica graduated from Utah State in 2017 and always looks forward to spending time with her fellow Aggies. And then many of you probably recognize McKlayne Marshall. He just graduated in May with degrees in MIS, finance, and economics. He and his little family just moved to Wichita, Kansas to start a full-time job with Flint Hills Resources, a subsidiary of Koch Industries, as a business systems analyst. He was born and raised in Cache Valley, Utah, so go Aggies. His hobbies include tennis, basketball, piano, reading, running, traveling, and cooking. And then we're lucky to have Scott Gold with us as well. He graduated from Utah State in 2016 with double major in accounting and business administration. Since graduation, Scott has worked for Koch Ag and Energy Solutions, a subsidiary of Koch Industries. In his 4 years with the company, he has supported various agricultural product segments as a financial analyst and accounting supervisor. In these roles, he has been responsible for implementing improved financial reporting tools, forecasting business performance, and providing analysis of business opportunities and results. So we're so lucky to have these three with us, and I'll turn the time over to you.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Mandy. Yeah, like she said, we are super excited to be with you today. Anything that we can do to be helping Utah State, our alumni, we just run for those opportunities. And so today, like Mandy said, we want it to be very interactive, given this virtual environment. Sometimes these events can just be kind of, sitting behind your computer and watching, but we really want you to participate because this is really about your next steps as a professional and getting those careers outside of Utah. And it's something that comes with a lot of different emotions, a lot of different questions. And we hope that, through our experiences, together we can learn, how we went through that and really what the opportunities are beyond Utah for all of us Aggies. And so in the chat, there is a poll link that we want to use. We're going to have a series of questions that we'll have you respond to, and we'll address these questions. So feel free as you answer them in the poll, you can add color to that in the chat as well as we discuss. And with the chat, feel free to add any questions you have, throughout. We'll be keeping an eye on the chat. So we'd love to answer your direct questions so that we can, make this the most useful for all of you watching, because that's really who it's for. And so if we can pull up, do you have the screen share, Jess? We can pull up the first question.
We are actually having technical difficulties. I'm not able to share my screen.
I'll fix that. Hold on.
It's all right. This is all what we're learning through 2020, as all of us have probably been to. If someone's mic's not muted, it's a screen share. So really, we're all continually learning, so it doesn't stop when you're in school. You'll always be figuring new things out.
So true. All right. Looks like we're able to share now.
We've got it.
So on your personal device or on the same device that you're watching on, head over to pollev.com/KochU, and it'll ask you for your name. Everything's gonna be anonymous though, so you can put whatever you want in that field, and then you will see this question pop up. And we wanted to see, where would you go if you had to work outside of Utah? I love it, Hawaii. That sounds wonderful. Nice and warm.
And as you do answer, feel free to, in the chat, you can say, hey, I'd love to go to Hawaii because of X or Australia because of Y. We'd love to see those things.
I see a Midwest on there. Someone trying to just get up with Koch here. Obviously, the three of us chose the Midwest. I like this anywhere as well. That's awesome that you're willing to go anywhere. That's fantastic. And anywhere is getting bigger, so multiple people are putting this.
There we go. Also, welcome Joseph Hutchinson from watching in your apartment in Logan. Good to have you here. Hopefully everyone that's watching can jump into the chat. We want to make this as interactive as possible.
Yeah, it's fun to see the good variety in this. I know, a lot of the times it seems like we'll be focused on those big cities we want to go to, right? Like the New Yorks, the LAs, the London. But it's really cool to see. I mean, depending on the career opportunities and whatnot, there's a lot of flexibility at Utah State.
Yeah, I'm loving the openness here. That's awesome. I know that I personally, when I was at Utah State, my husband came to me and he was like, Jessica, what do you think about, maybe working outside of Utah, living outside of Utah? And I was like, where? Like middle of nowhere, Kansas? And he was like, yes, Kansas actually, but not nowhere in Kansas. It is the biggest city in Kansas. I was like, oh gosh. I was not open to it at all. And I'm so, so grateful that that I married him first off, and that he opened my mind to new possibilities, because believe it or not, I love Wichita. I love it so much. In fact, we were talking the other day of what it would take to get us to leave Wichita now, because we rather love it. But that was my viewpoint. So I wouldn't have been like you guys. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, my perspective was I had never thought about going outside of Utah. I mean, I was born and raised Utah, and my wife actually went to the University of Utah and just commuted to school. So pretty much lived with her parents as she was going to school. And so we were like, okay, we could probably maybe do it, but it never crossed our mind until the opportunity really came up. But I will say, we'll get more into it as the presentation continues. It's something that I definitely do not regret. I would say having that open mind and that perspective really can lead to great things in your life. Washington is really killing it.
It is, and anywhere and east. So yeah. I would agree with those thoughts. It's pretty incredible when you have an open mindset in general in life, but also pertaining to where you want to work and where you want to explore your career. And there's different types of people that you meet, different opportunities that are available to you when you have that open mindset. And having left Cache Valley just a few months ago, it's been incredible to see all of those things come to fruition thus far. And some of there's been so many great memories thus far that I've just loved. So I'm glad that you guys are being open-minded with this list. It's fun to see so many different places. Just think about all the different opportunities and people you'd meet in all those different places. It's pretty crazy.
Absolutely. I actually got to live in Washington for a couple months, and it was gorgeous. Washington is very pretty. The world is beautiful. There's so much out there. All right, so it looks like everyone has been able to get on there. That's awesome. You're going to see a new question pop up on your device that you're answering questions on, and we'll move on to the next one. What we want to know is what concerns you guys about working outside of Utah. And we'll share some of the concerns that we had as we see some of your responses, and hopefully, again, continue this conversation. And you will see on your device a plus, a thumbs up, thumbs down. I recommend that you don't thumbs down an answer, but definitely if you see an answer that you totally agree with, feel free to just thumbs up it, and we can see these popular answers rise to the top.
And there's honestly no such thing as an illegitimate concern, because if it's a concern to you, it's a concern to you. I think of my wife, and she loves shopping, and she was concerned that there wasn't a Nordstrom close by. So there are concerns that might not be one for you, but it might be for someone else that you're close to. So any concern is good.
So I'm seeing family come up a lot here, and that was pretty much my biggest concern. Totally a mama's girl. Love my mom, love being with my family, love the family events. And my husband, to actually warm my mom up to the idea of us leaving Utah, every time he saw her, he'd be like, so mom, I think we're gonna go to New Zealand. Or, hey mom, I think we're gonna go to Washington. Or mom, we're gonna go to China. And he just threw out a random one every single time he saw her, and she just got used to hearing it. So one day when he said, hey mom, we're actually gonna go to Kansas, like for real, she was like, that's not China, that's not like New Zealand, that's great, you're close. And she was delighted to have us closer than all these faraway places.
So I think that's a good one to start as these answers keep coming in for all of us. And maybe you can expand a little more, Jess, than McKlayne, and I can jump in. How have we dealt with, being far away from family? Because obviously our families are, not near us in Kansas. How has that been something that you've been able to overcome, or what ways have you been able to make it better?
Yeah, I'd love to speak to that first, because that was a big concern of mine. And I think we've all found, thanks to the coronavirus, just what technology is capable of. I was really lucky as my family over the years, as we started to distance out as siblings left the house, we started to use technology. First, we started out with a blog, and like weekly, we'd all post blog posts. And then one day we all discovered Snapchat and did like a 24-hour group on Snapchat, which sent like videos and pictures, and that lasted for years. We loved Snapchat. And then the coronavirus hit, and then we discovered Marco Polo, and we were like, this thing is awesome. Like videos, real time, like you can interact right there, real time. We've actually also done like game nights through Zoom. I want to do a Scribble.io party with my family, just games. So technology is really amazing, and I found that it really fulfills that need that I have. And then of course I come and visit Utah at least 2 or 3 times a year, or they'll come visit us, and you make it work. You let them know that you love them, and they let you know that they love you, and it works out.
Yeah, I think going along with that, we've only been out here for a short amount of time, about 4 or 5 months, but both of our families have come to visit, and we've had some awesome memories with both of our families thus far. And honestly, I feel like our relationships with our families have grown since moving out. And my little family, so my wife and we have a little boy who's about one and a half. Our relationships have grown substantially because we have a lot more time together, and we're able to focus on one another and create traditions and go on trips. And so there's a lot of those concerns that we initially had making the decision to move outside of Utah for work have been resolved. And honestly, those concerns have turned into pros, which is really interesting. So
Awesome.
I think you'd be surprised with some of these things that you've listed. And then the top one that keeps going up in Kansas, the cost is super, super low. So you have more disposable income to travel and visit different places. That might not be true elsewhere. So depends on where you're headed.
Yeah, I would say on that cost one, I mean, that is a valid concern, and I think that's one that a lot of the times you look at on the negative side, right? You see when, hey, I'm going to move to New York, I'm going to move to LA, like the cost of living is so high, and maybe the pay isn't exactly, proportionally there with the cost of living. I would say it's an important thing to do on the other side too. And, maybe cities that are smaller, maybe things that weren't necessarily the top of your frame is, the city that you want to be in. Look at the cost advantage, like McKlayne said, of those cities, because there are a lot of things, I think, whether it's housing, transportation, entertainment, whatever it might be, you can find a lot of things because that's what you're really spending your money on, is the housing as you're endeavoring in this new journey. So it's really important to look both ends of the coin. And going back to the family, I think you guys hit it out of the park. And I would just add, really, it's about those quality interactions. I think, in Utah, when I was at home with my family, there were a lot of interactions that I had more frequently, going and doing stuff with my family. Were they quality? Yes, because it was with family, but it might not have been as meaningful, right? I think being out here, you learn to make things a lot more meaningful. And like McKlayne alluded to, I think you grow in your individual family demographic and dynamic, whatever that might be, whether that's you as yourself, whether that's you and, a spouse or a partner or children, whatever that might be, you really learn to, thrive and survive, if you will, and you grow a lot from that. Looking at the other ones on this list, I would say fear of the unknown is a big one that I think we've probably all gone through. Moving out to Kansas, the fear of the unknown was big. There were a lot of things that was like, I don't know what Kansas is like. I've been out here once for a job interview, and I'm just going to pack up my bags and just live out here because I didn't do an internship. I didn't get the test drive before. I just moved straight on out to Kansas. And that sometimes can be so, gut wrenching and take such a tight hold on you, that fear of the unknown. But I would say whenever you have moments of that fear of unknown, just take a step back and look at all the, the opportunities, the benefits, those good things, and make sure that those good things outweigh the bad things. Because it's so easy to be pessimistic and negative and just get sucked into it. But there are opportunities ahead. And granted, we know a lot of things in life take sacrifice, and that it's not always, rose-colored glasses and amazing. But we should be pursuing things that, net have more opportunities and advantages than disadvantages.
Absolutely. I do think that speaks well into the culture piece and the making new friends part. It's amazing to experience a new culture, even just in the United States. Different states have different cultures. And I mean, depending on your viewpoint, I keep thinking as we're all discussing here of the story of the man who visits a new place and he asks, hey, what's this new place like? And they ask him, well, what was your old place like? And regardless of his answer, they say it's going to be the same, right? Like you are the one who affects how that place is. So as far as the culture goes, like you just gotta be open and you can see the beauty and the people, and they're just wonderful. They live life a little bit different and you experience a new way to live your life. And it's just cool. It's a cool way to grow, to see how people live and they thrive and they're happy in different cultures and different ways of living. And then as far as making new friends goes, you definitely have to make friends when you leave Utah. That was actually the pros of leaving family, was that we were forced to make friends, especially having a little boy and having a little family. We had to reach out. We needed a network, and it's amazing. I have more friends in Kansas than I ever had in Utah, ever, I'm pretty sure, because we had to, and we love our friends. We love the cultures that they bring and the new ideas that they bring. So it's nice to have that push to go out and be out there and to meet new people.
And I think with those friends, it's kind of an interesting dynamic, because if you think, where you're at in school right now, a lot of the times you surround yourselves with friends that have a common interest, whether that's, a hobby, a sport, religious affiliation, community involvement, different things, right? And you stick with those friends that are very, very, very similar to you. I think getting, like for us in Kansas, if we were back at Utah State, I don't know if necessarily all of us would pick each other to be our friends, right? We're kind of in different bubbles, have different activities, different interests. But it's fun when you get put into a new environment and you find new friends. You learn so much, and it kind of helps that growth trajectory like we talked about, right? With a career opportunity and learning new places and learning new things. You surround yourself with these people that might have different views, different hobbies, different interests. And so you get exposure to a lot more things, and it really just helps you grow as a person.
Definitely. My favorite principle here at Koch Industries is self-actualization. And I think self-actualization and the principle of self-actualization fits this question pretty well. I think everyone as an individual, we have to figure out what we want in our life and ways we want to grow. And I think concerns and getting out of your comfort zone will push you to achieve your highest potential. And that, for some, that's inside of Utah. For some, that's working outside of Utah. So I think events like this to help you realize those types of things is pretty incredible. So, but that principle, for me particularly, I've been able to self-actualize a lot here in just such a short amount of time, because of the relationships I'm making with my family and with friends, and new opportunities and new culture, all of the things that are on this list. So.
And lastly on the list, so we don't forget it, there are grid systems outside of Utah, and it is a beautiful, wonderful thing.
It's true. Wichita has a really big grid system. They're like mile-long blocks. So other cities do have them.
So we just had a question come in from Joseph Hutchison. He says, how has the COVID experience been in Kansas compared to what your families have told you being in Utah?
I mean, I think it's pretty similar. I think you get the minute differences between, hey, the schools are doing this, different workplaces. But I think for all of us, it's been, a change. It's messed with our routines, going to work, socially interacting with our friends. I would say in some aspects, Kansas is a little different just because I feel like we're more spread out than Utah, which is obviously still more spread out than in New York City. So each geographical region is experiencing it in different ways. But I would say, COVID is kind of COVID. And it's the thing that we don't love in 2020, but it's the thing we're learning to adapt with, as seen through these virtual trainings and virtual seminars, which are an awesome thing. But I will say, being in Kansas, I mean, it hasn't been terrible, which is good.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think things got a lot more serious in Utah, a lot more quicker than in Kansas. But I agree with Scott, like each region is a little bit different of how they chose to handle it. And even though I think it's a little bit less, but it's becoming pretty normal just to always have to have a mask on outside, no matter where you are. So I think by now, things have kind of settled down into that new norm.
Stores have hand sanitizer when you walk in, which even before this, I would have celebrated because it's a great idea. So we're learning. We're continually learning.
Exactly.
So if you want to move
Great
on
question,
to our
though.
final question, which I think will be our main discussion point, seeing it looks like we have about 10 minutes left on the clock. So here's another one that we want you to respond to is, why would you choose to work outside of Utah? So these could be things that you see as opportunities, as benefits, as advantages to working outside of Utah. So this is what we'd really like to hear your opinion on what you see as the benefit. And then we'd love to chime in from our personal experience too. And feel free to post follow-up questions in the chat and we'll address them.
So I'll speak to that personal and career growth. In that same conversation, my husband came to me and asked if I'd ever consider living outside of Utah. We talked about, that career growth and that personal growth, but mostly about that career growth. And we had the mental model that if we're willing to go outside of Utah, then that opens up a whole lot more possibilities. Whereas if you funnel down in any way what you want to do career-wise, you're going to have less opportunities, less possibilities. So that was an easy way for us to just get a lot more opportunities and possibilities on our plates, to just be willing to leave, to go anywhere. And we still are. We think about it from time to time, like, okay, what would happen if we chose to go to this place, or whatever, what opportunities could be there for us.
Yeah, and looking at these as they come in, I mean, it's a lot of growth, compensation experiences. I think that's something that, the more that you open, like you said, Jess, that frame of reference, the better it's going to be. And I would say, and it's advice that I give to everyone, as we're interacting on at USU's campus or whatever campus we might be on, it's really to look for somewhere, some place, some company that you can make a career. There's a lot of jobs out there. There's a lot of things that you can go onto LinkedIn or Indeed or whatnot, and you can find a job. And it might be good, but after 2 years, you might get bored of it. You might be wanting to feel more challenged. You might not be completely self-actualized, and you want to really expand and grow. So I would say, wherever that is, look for those ways that you can grow, that you can, if you want to climb the ladder, you can climb the ladder. If you want to learn different skill sets, you can learn different skill sets. However you feel that you will get value in your life, look for those things. And by having that focus broadened, chances are you're going to be able to find things that suit you better than if you narrow your perspective.
Definitely. I love that adventure has gone up to the top on the list with an exclamation point. My little boy was watching Up the other day, and it just brought a smile onto my face because that movie's all about adventure. And I think sometimes, having recently graduated, I think sometimes we get into this mindset of the way our life has to go after graduating. We do well in school, we get the best job that's high paying in the city and place that we want to work, and then we work for the foreseeable future, right? There's a lot of unknowns after you graduate that I'm also experiencing right now. But I think sometimes we need to slow down and realize that we're in control of the time that we have, and you don't have to rush. You can go and experience, you can go have, adventures, you can work at a company for a period of time outside of Utah and then go back to Utah. I mean, you don't want to be you don't want to work for a company for 6 months and then move to a bunch of different companies. Like, go and be committed. But I think that's a mindset that we can change. And the adventure part of that is so fun. And I think linking that thought with expanding your network, by being here, I have met so many people that I would have never met that have different ways of thinking, different ideas. They're innovative, they're very skilled and talented. They have integrity, some principles that I believe in. And it's just so fun to get to know people like that help me in my career, and I can also help them in their career. So it's pretty neat. I'm pretty passionate about it, as you can see. But.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, McKlayne. That I don't know why it keeps surprising me, but every time I go and venture out somewhere new, it's like, wow, these people are amazing. There are beautiful, wonderful people all over the world. And then it makes me wonder if my next best friend is like in Africa and I just haven't met them yet. It's like, man, I need to go there. I need to meet this cool person because there are cool people everywhere. Just over the weekend for Labor Day, went to Arkansas, and I don't know what I expected, but it was gorgeous. It was so pretty. And I don't know if my brain thought that Arkansas was going to be brown and ugly, but it was beautiful. And just every time I venture out, I'm just amazed at just everything. And I don't know why I keep forgetting it, but there's a lot of adventure to be had out in the world and a lot of new experiences.
And that's what I was going to add to your point, Jess. I think we think of adventure through a lens of the pictures that people post on Instagram of the cliche places in the world, right? The Eiffel Tower, the Golden Gate Bridge. Like, I have to go to these top places in the world to have adventure in my life. Granted, do I want to go there? Yes. Do I think that is adventurous? Yes. So someday I'll get there. But I think there's a lot of places out there in the world like Arkansas, and I think of even Kansas. I mean, example that we just had a baby about a month ago, and we wanted to get out of the house. So we went on a road trip kind of through the backwoods of Kansas to different places and historical things. And it's not something I would take an airplane to go do, right? I'm not going to fly here to go to those places, but you find adventure in your own backyard, wherever that is. And really, like, life is what you make of it in all respects. And so you can really find adventure, and it's fun when it's not the cliche adventure. You know, you're having a picnic in a random place you would have never thought, and you laugh and you make memories, and those memories will last a lifetime.
I think I saw that picture on Facebook of the random picnic.
The random picnic with the kids spitting up in the picture. Yeah, it was
Yes, that exact
memories.
one.
I'm telling you, it's memories.
Something else I wanted to comment. Oh, sorry, McKlayne.
No, you're fine. There's a question in the chat that I was going to speak to. Maybe
Go for it.
before we go further. So Taylor Paul asked, do you have any suggestions on networking with companies that are outside of Utah? I want to move outside of Utah, but struggle with networking without it being school facilitated. This is a great question. One that I've thought about frequently, having left. My biggest suggestion is reach out to people. LinkedIn is an amazing tool. It's incredible to see how many try and find the companies that you're interested in and see if you have any connections or people that went to Utah State that are working at those companies, or even schools within Utah that you can reach out to, and then get out there and message them. See if you can set up times to call or do a call with them and pick their brains, see what they're thinking about, see what problems they're trying to solve. To take it a step further, see if you can help solve some of those problems. I think sometimes we put up these barriers or walls of what we can and cannot do, and there's no reason why you can't do that. Reach out to people. So that's probably my biggest tip. And use your network. There's some amazing individuals at Utah State University, the professors at the John Huntsman School of Business. Reach out to your professors and say, hey, I'm really interested in this company that is in, I don't know, Virginia or Florida. Can you, let's talk through maybe some ways that I can get in contact with that company. So be creative, use your network, and be bold and get out of your comfort zone. Those are my tips. So.
And on the flip side of that, from the perspective of someone who, receives that networking, I love when students message me on LinkedIn and say, like, hey, please tell me more about Koch Industries. What have your career opportunities look like? What do you like about it? I mean, it's awesome, you know, when an Aggie reaches out, and it shows initiative on your end too. So really, the more you can do to reach out. I know I saw the other day, I stumbled upon it randomly that the Huntsman School of Business has, you know, an alumni directory on their website. You can search by name, you can search by company, you can do a lot of different things. So that's another great resource that you can utilize.
Amen to that. I'm gonna vote that up again. Networking is so important. And at school, you have so many opportunities. I wasted them so bad.
Me
So
too.
hopefully don't do what I did. Really like get to know your professors, talk to them. They have so many resources at their fingertips and ways to connect you. And then the people that you know. I mean, I know several people who live in several states. I could think of them right now and like reach out to them, talk to them. The people you know are really the best resource you have.
And you'll honestly never know what connection is going to pay off. I think of the way that I came to Koch Industries was through a friend that I met in his last semester of school at Utah State, and he ended up going to Koch, and that was the reason that I came out. So you never know, right, what path or what intersection it's going to be that's that trigger to make you, you know, not make you, but encourage you to go, you know, chase an opportunity that you might not have previously thought of. So really, don't pass any opportunity. Look for ways just to make friends, you know, even outside of formal networking. Friends sometimes are the catalyst to spur great opportunities in your life.
I think the last thing I would want to say to the topic is one that McKlayne touched on, just how in life we can really iterate. Like we do not have to be married to that one choice we made. Like, you can try something out, see how it's going, and then pivot from there. If it's going great, then maybe adjust just a couple of things to make it even that much better. Or if it's not going so great, well then yeah, do a full swing and try something new. But we have huge lives ahead of us, so many years ahead of us that we can take advantage of. We're just willing to go out there and make a change.
Well, thank you so much for coming, McKlayne, Jessica, and Scott. It's been incredible to have you, and we love having our Aggies back. Are you okay if students reach out to each of you on LinkedIn to ask more questions and network with you?
For sure. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Great. Well,
We
thank
would
you
love
so
that.
much. Again, we're so glad that we could have you. You know, this summer I would come home and tell my husband, I'd say it's so inspiring working at the Huntsman School of Business to see that despite all the, you know, hurdles that COVID has thrown, that there's so many people working to still help you reach your academic and career goals. So take advantage of the resources that are being created for you. We have several other sessions that will be moving forward, and make sure you sign up for the expo on September 24th and 25th. That's going to be a great opportunity. So thanks again. Have a great Friday.